Hey, this is Kevin Stewart Builds 250. I'm Kev, and this is part number 2 of Hachette Partworks Build the Spitfire Mk1A. So hey, thanks for clicking on the video. This is part 2 of a 120 part model build. So if you'd like to see the progression of this model through from now until the completed model, then hey, don't forget to click the subscribe button and also click the bell so you're notified every single time that a video goes live on the channel. This is the kind of last of the discounted parts. Part 1 was obviously $1.99, this is $5.99. From then on it's going to be $9.99 an issue, all the way through to the completed model. I'll be probably subscribing to this, so I'll be getting it in the 4-week packs that we normally kind of get through on these builds. And it's kind of a good time to talk about something that's been kind of weighing on my mind a little bit, and that's all the negativity around these kind of part work builds. Are they worth the money? Comparing them to other things and all that kind of stuff. I'm not a big one for telling people how to spend their money. To be honest, if they want to spend their money how they want to spend their money, that's absolutely fine. You know, if they want to pay £3, £4, £5 for a cup of coffee or £2 for a donut, then that's absolutely fine. I haven't got a problem with that. But I get a bit annoyed when people kind of tell us how we should spend our money and assuming we're all idiots for kind of subscribing to these things. And then you get the people comparing them to kind of Airfix kits. Now, I do Airfix kits, as you can see behind. They're made out of plastic. Obviously, they're not that big, and you can get big ones, but then they're expensive. If you're doing them to a high standard, you're then investing in airbrushes and all that kind of thing. It's a lot of skill that goes into them as well. They take a long time to get to be able to do them to the quality that you see sometimes. I mean, I'm blown away by some of the Airfix modelers that I see and the plastic modelers. They are absolutely skilled people. And these kind of models are designed more for my kind of level where I'll put it together. It'll go together relatively easily. There'll be a few challenges along the way, of course there will. But they're fairly easily rectified. And that kind of thing. And also you can get the mods for these things to make them look absolutely outstanding. There's some brilliant people within the group. There's Coey and Corey at Model Mods. They do outstanding work. There's Mike Lane and Mike Lane Mods. Absolutely, these people are skilled people, and that's why you pay for them to do these mods, to make them look fantastic. I couldn't do the work that Mike Lane does or Coey and Corey at Model Mods do. I couldn't do any of that. That's why we pay the kind of money for them, the mods, because they just look absolutely brilliant and set these models off and they look outstanding. I did the DeLorean. You can check that out. That's on my channel. You can see the kind of the video of that completed. And I think it looks absolutely brilliant. And we all know how much these models are going to cost. We all go into it with our eyes open. We know this is 120 issues. It's going to be over £1,000, but that's over 2 years. And the Sun, which seems like it's the biggest newspaper that's had an attack of the Partworks model community and Partwork builds. If you bought an episode of the Sun for the time, every single day for the time of this model, that would be £500, and I know which I'd rather have. So yeah, I know how much these models cost. I know they're expensive, but definitely worth it in my opinion. It's what I enjoy, and as I said at the start, I don't really go around telling other people how to spend their money. So don't kind of assume that we're all idiots because we enjoy building these and making nice looking models at the end of the day. And comparing them to radio controlled flying models. I got a balsa wood with an engine bolted onto it. I've got no interest in kind of going outside and flying one of these models. I just like it to look as stunning as it's going to look at the end of the build. So rant over, sorry about that, but yeah, that's just my thoughts on it. Put it in comments if you've got any thoughts on kind of the negativity around some of these part works. And what your thoughts are on it. But as I say, I haven't got any qualms about knowing. I know how much these are going to cost, and yeah, I've got a very understanding wife, so I'm lucky on that. But hey, let's get into issue number 2 of Hachette Partworks Build the Spitfire. Okay, so I've got the parts laid out for issue number 2. Looks like it's going to be motor and some gearing for the propellers. These are the parts. I think we're also going to need part number 1 from issue number 1. Yeah, the propeller itself. I'm going to need that as well. Let's have a quick look at the magazine. Magazine. So yeah, so the magazine, yeah, it's going pretty good. The instructions, all clearly laid out instructions. Quite a few on this one. A few instructions. Kind of have a look at those as I say, as we go through. Talking a bit more about the design concept of the Spitfire. R.J. Mitchell, the guy who designed it, came from. Looking at the pilot, who's going to be most famous for flying this particular aircraft, A.G. Sailor Malan. I'm looking into him. Some of the tactics he drew up for air combat. Looking at the strengths and weaknesses of the RAF early in 1939, before I went into the war, obviously. And as some people have pointed out, even a look at the Hawker Hurricane was arguably the more not capable, but more numerical. There was more Hurricanes in the Battle of Britain than there was Spitfires. I think there was 30 odd squadrons of Hurricanes, whereas only less than 20 squadrons of Spitfires during the Battle of Britain. But Spitfire gets most of the credit. Yeah, looking at that, and then insight into Winston Churchill, the Prime Minister, obviously during the Second World War, and kind of looking at a profile on him. Okay, most of you know I'm doing this in collaboration with Medora. So Medora is going to construct this, and as I say, we'll see how we go with issue number 2. Okay, so we take the items we had from issue 1, which was the propeller on its template and the nose cone, and remove it from the template, and then you're going to fit that into the nose cone. So the propeller is going to fit into the nose cone from issue 1. Now there's a small little notch in the nose cone, and there's kind of a peg on one of the propeller's mounts that you need to make sure that they match together. So the peg on the propeller needs to go onto the kind of notch inside the nose cone. If you do that, it'll go in nicely. And then you're going to fit the gear, the propeller gear set. That's going to go onto the propeller nose cone and should fit nice and snug. Now there's some curved tabs, make sure they fit correctly. They do. Then you're going to be putting 3 of the silver 2x4mm PM screws in. And then we're going to be fitting the side parts. Now there's 201 and 202. Now they're very similar, it says the note. Part 202 though has the raised screw sockets into it, and make sure they fit into the right orientation as shown. So making sure that those brass parts, as you can see, they look together there. But the brass parts, you need to separate those 2 brass parts. So you need to separate the 2 brass parts, and then that should fit over the motor housing, the gear housing. Yeah, okay. And now you're going to fit the motor into that. So the motor's obviously, those gears are going to have to mesh. It does say that the curved sides of the motor needs to fit upwards. So you need to make sure they're in the right orientation. It is quite tricky, to be fair. This is where you kind of need 3 hands, because it is tricky to get all that held in together. Because then part 201 is going to go on top of it all. So you kind of got to hold that in place whilst, and that's falling off obviously. And so you got to kind of hold that in place whilst trying to screw in 2 of the PB screws, the black finished screws, not the silver ones. Same size 2x4mm, but they're black in colour rather than the silver finish for the PM screws. Yeah, as I say, it's difficult. It's more awkward than kind of anything else, but making sure that you kind of get those brass parts of the motor housing, like your brass bushes that are going to they're going to rotate obviously. Okay, but once you've got it all held down, you're going to put in the 2 PB screws. They're going to kind of tighten them up so it holds it in place, and then we have the finished item. So just tightening up those screws, making sure that it's going to hold that motor and everything in place. Okay, now what we're doing here is I've got a battery box from the Bismarck build that I did, and as you can see, if you put that the right way around, make sure you get, if you've got a battery box, make sure you get the orientation, positives and negatives the right way around. But it does look pretty impressive when it gets going, that motor. It does look good. And then obviously slowing it right down as you take it away. So yeah, I'm going to have another go at that because I'm well impressed with that. There we go. Oh, yeah, that does look good. It's quite a way here. You can feel the wind coming off it from behind. Your hands can feel the wind coming off it. Don't get your fingers in the way either because it will take them off. Oh yeah, that's issue 2 done of the build the Spitfire Mk1A by Hachette Partworks. Just awkward really, not really too difficult. Just kind of need 3 hands. So helping the door out, getting everything together, holding it all together and then getting the screws in. Once you got that in, it was okay. And using that little battery box that I got with the Bismarck build to get that propeller turning. Really does look awesome. And it kind of shows how big this model is going to be if the propellers are that kind of size. But yeah, impressed. So looking forward to part 3. Now part 3 is out on Wednesday next week, so I'm picking that up. News agents haven't subscribed yet, and as soon as that's out, we'll get that build and we'll get a video straight out to you. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed that, and take care. Hope to see you next time. Ta-da for now.